I'm Holly Joe, and this is another great episode of ETX Rocks featuring Jake Flint.
From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX rocks, ETX rocks.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with the #1 resource for independent music in Northeast Texas. It's the ETX ROCKS Show, episode 292, and we have Jake Flint in the house, or in the studio actually. We're not in the house this week, but we're sitting here at Mojo Studio, which is a division of mobile audio and video production in beautiful East Texas, more specifically Tatum, Texas. And Jake was in Tulsa, Oklahoma last night.
Yeah.
And somehow you're here today. You don't own a teleportation machine.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it only goes like 90 miles an hour.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So it's like a Ford pickup or something like that.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Got extremely inebriated.
A little bit, yes.
No, not really.
I had planned on not doing that, and then I did that.
Yeah. That's called rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. We've had Jake on our radar for a long time. We've been trying to get you scheduled for damn near a year.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Well, thank you. Jake is just blowing up Texas country music. You're not actually in Texas or from Texas. You're from the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, Mounds to be specific.
I am, yep. And I've still got a little place in Mounds, and I just bought a little house in Tulsa, and I'm kind of making that transfer. But yeah, I grew up in Holdenville, but
I always find it really interesting, kind of the similarities between Oklahoma and Texas musically, but also a lot of differences involved as well.
Yep.
You had people like Mike McClure, who you've worked with, and Brandon Jenkins. We miss you, brother.
Yes,
and so many others. Cody and all those guys as well. But the stylistic differences are small but big. It's hard to really explain within country music what it is about Oklahoma. But first album is out. First single, now you're on your second single.
Yep.
The first single, Cowtown, had like the longest life, man. Like,
it's crazy.
It was like Johnny Carson, man.
Yeah.
It would not go away.
It just wouldn't. It wouldn't. We couldn't kill it.
Yeah.
So
that's good news. It's got to be good for you, right?
We're real happy with that. Yeah, Ed Spacek was the radio promoter on that, and he did a great job. And for a debut, everybody told me that the first one's a sacrificial lamb, and don't worry about it. Just get it out there and get your foot in the water, and man, it couldn't have been any happier. You know. So, and we're just really, really happy with the reception, and I really appreciate everybody for all the stations for spinning it and all the support from all the fans.
And it's a killer song. I mean, as a fan of Jake's, I always try to not compare, but just try to make someone who may not be aware of the music listen. And sometimes you have to give a title or put it in a box or whatever just to get people to listen. For me, listening to Cowtown is like if Tom Petty and Jimmy Buffett wrote a song together and then sprinkled a shit ton of red dirt on it
Nice.
and was just like, here you go, this is what we got.
That's exactly what I was going for.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I kind of wanted to give. Of course, there's lots of little hints and nods to kind of some of the heroes growing up, from David Allan Coe to Cross Gang Ragweed to Buffett. And hopefully, Jimmy Buffett will sue me one day.
That would be awesome.
Then I'll know that I've made it.
That's right. That's when you know you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, to everybody from Garth to all of them. But yeah, it was kind of and we definitely red dirted it up. That it was a big nod to kind of some of my Oklahoma Red Dirt not forefathers, but the kind of guys that really shaped me musically. Yeah, Trailblazers.
Yeah.
And for Cross Gang Ragweed and McClure and Great Divide and all those guys, and so it's
Great
the sound.
Divide is back too, by the way,
are.
guys. They are back and killing it as always.
Absolutely.
Man. Jeez. It's like they went away for a little while, now they're back and they're just in charge again.
Indeed.
That's when you know good music.
Oh,
you know.
And they're still all rocking and rolling, man.
Yep.
I think Lester just got a new shelter. So.
So we're talking about the first single, and the current single, which was just released, is Long Road Back Home.
Yep.
We were making jokes about it off camera, so that's why my mind went blank. The pop version is Long Road Back Home.
Yep.
Or Long Home,
Back Road.
Road.
Yeah. Back Road, yeah.
Long
tailgate.
Jeez, I don't know.
And a cold
The
beer.
actual name of the song is Long Road Back Home. So tell us about the song. He's actually going to play it live for us.
It's with Cowtown it did so well, and there wasn't really a single on this. There's several singles on the first album.
Yeah.
But I was really inexperienced when I made it, so there's a lot of language issues.
Yeah.
And length issues, you know, and that I didn't really consider because I wasn't really thinking about radio when I made it. And
That's not typically an issue for a female, by the way. Length issues.
Yeah.
Just so you know out there.
It is an issue for me. but so we really wanted to follow it up with something strong and upbeat and kind of a Cowtown 2. And I went to Nashville last fall and wrote with this guy and we had a really good time and I kind of it was my first writing session in Nashville, so I really wanted to impress. So I kind of had some things put together.
It's going to be pretty pressure filled, and like you have to bring your own. You have to show your talent quickly.
But he really helped me shape them up, and I really liked it. And we had started working on this new album and got all the scratch tracks and everything down, and then we killed Cowtown and wanted to come out with something strong behind it. I didn't want to do a ballad, and it was still summertime.
Yeah.
We were going to release summertime, so I just went in and whipped out Long Road Back Home right quick, and I'm really happy with that, how it came out. But it's a song about I've been doing the music thing pretty seriously for about 5 years now. I've been playing a long time, but professionally, and have been burning up the road pretty hard about the past 5 years. So I've gotten really familiar with the feeling of like, I love it's kind of a love-hate deal. I love being on the road, but you know, when you're going home.
But you miss back home, absolutely.
And it's that kind of feeling you get when you're close and you start seeing those little landmarks that you know you're close to your own bed and your own, you know, a big hug from mom or your wife and your own toilet, you know, and all that stuff. And my management would kill me for saying this, but my analogy for it is like, you know, when you have to poop really bad and you get close to home and somehow your butt knows that you're close.
Really? That's not something I've ever dealt with.
Well, it usually like your butt knows that you're there, so it's like it's time.
Do you think that's where like public poop phobias come from?
I think maybe.
Yeah.
So, but it's about that kind of feeling of getting close, and so whether you've been gone at school or you know, war or just been on
it's
the
a
road.
very open-ended song.
Yeah.
You know, it's specific, but you keep it vague enough where it's relevant to more
I think
people.
a lot of people could relate.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's Long Road Back Home.
Well, guys, we're really stoked to have Jake here on the show for the first time. 292 episodes it took us to finally have Jake here. He's actually a fan of the show, too, so that's always a plus. First time ever, live on the ETX ROCKS Show, guys. It's Long Road Back Home. Y'all check it out.
It's all the song called Long Road Back Home. This is our current single on Texas radio. Headed home in the freezing cold, holy boots and a real thin coat. Cold cut clean, cleared down to my bones, and I need some relief. City sign says about 5 miles through the city limit line. Singing songs just to pass the time, and I got to believe. Singing, hallelujah, here I come. I'll be there when this day's done. Home or bust, I'm a-kicking up dust on this long road back home. Singing, hallelujah, it's about time. See that old mom and dad of mine. My dog, my friend, gonna meet me at the end of this long road back home. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna lay low for a little while, chill out and kick back in style. Soon as I finish this country mile, I'm home on that range. Make a ride on Wildflower Lane. My grandma's house don't look the same. Gone this long, I must be insane. It's all about to change. Singing, hallelujah, here I come. I'll be there when this day's done. Home or bust, I'm a-kicking up dust on this long road back home. Singing, hallelujah, it's about time. See that old mom and dad of mine. My dog, my friend, gonna meet me at the end of this long road back home. Gonna love is deep and wide. Somebody's always by my side. That old porch light's always on. Well, I'm so glad to be back home, this land of the free. Coming back to my home, sweet home. Singing, hallelujah, here I come. I'll be there when this day's done. Home or bust, I'm a-kicking up dust on this long road back home. Singing, hallelujah, it's about time. See that old mom and dad of mine. My dog, my friend, gonna meet me at the end of this long road back home. Or this long road back home. Or this long road back home.
All right, so we are back once again with Jake Flint. That was Long Road Back Home.
Yes, it was.
The new single just came out a couple of weeks ago. It hasn't been that long. How is Texas kind of treating you?
Great. There's always, as an Oklahoman in the scene, Texas is saturated with musicians and people.
And Texans.
Yeah. So they, of course, any extras are, probably a little bit of a off-putting. So they usually, some of them keep Oklahomans at an arm's distance,
right.
But really, man, for the most part, everybody's been real welcoming and real kind, and it feels like Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's just
I always like to look at the
people.
charts and see when someone from outside the state is really doing well. And Cowtown was a top 50 hit for you for debut single, which is phenomenal. Again, you have to be thrilled with that.
Very
but to
thrilled.
be from Oklahoma as well within that scene, it is harder for you folks out there that are not part of the Texas music scene, whether you're watching in Europe or wherever you are. It's difficult for a guy like Jake from outside the state to break through because there are a lot of old-timey kind of stations here.
Yep, that are real traditional and,
Yeah.
and like the Texans.
Right. So it's always cool to see people like Jake and Rugged Grace,
JD and
Bree
Lexi.
Bagwell, from outside the state, really tearing
Bree
it up
from-
here. She's from New Mexico.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
originally.
I didn't know. I thought she was from
Las
Texas.
Cruces.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
So it's always cool to see that. And the Texas scene has been growing beyond Texas for a very, very long time. And I think a big part of that is Oklahoma and the red dirt music scene from the Tulsa area. I think Texas was kind of forced to swallow that up in a way, and adopted a lot of those sounds as well here in Texas.
Well, and quality's quality.
Right.
Texans know what they like, and when there were some guys came down that they liked them, and it really opened the door for a lot of us,
And I've been reading about Jake for a while when I found out we were doing this episode, which actually got rescheduled once, and just super stoked that this worked out.
Me too.
But your musical background is so insightful or interesting in the fact that you grew up on folk music, and then grunge music, and then bluegrass music.
Yeah.
So, wow, like your eyes and ears were open to a lot of different sounds as a
Indeed.
youngster.
And I mean, I've gone through phases of everything from death metal to all the way
Gangsta
to,
rap.
yeah, to everything. And I think that's probably plays a big part in like my draw and the attractiveness of red dirt and Texas country music, because of how diverse it is. You get everything from like I said, traditional country stuff like bowling to rock and roll, to cross country ragweed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, my dad kind of raised me on
and even then, like he was big on John Denver, James Taylor, some of the 70s singer-songwriters, but every time he would buy a new stereo, he would blast Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free
Nice.
at 11.
Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of raised me on that stuff, and then the grunge came. We moved to Tulsa from the country, and didn't really get along with very many people, and so I kind of coattailed my sister quite a bit.
Wow.
And of course, she was a teenager through the mid '90s, so she got a lot of the grunge stuff, and I was just always that stuff kind of siphoning under her door.
It's a whole different world for you,
Yeah. And then the bluegrass stuff kind of came later, and that was when I was kind of really learning to play an instrument and guitar and mandolin and stuff like that, and then got really into literature and poetry, and so I kind of got into the back end of the singer-songwriters and discovered, of course, all the Stillwater Red Dirt guys, and their influences were guys like Tom Skinner and Bob Childers and some kind of singer-songwriters from back in the 70s, 80s, and that's what really kind of shaped me as far as wanting to write music with substance and that's not written on third grade reading level.
Yeah, and I think the history of your shaping is really, really unique, just in the different styles of music. You talk about, poetry and wordplay and stuff like that. And then you combine that with a lot of life experiences that you've gone through as well. Just the journey of you as an artist, hearing that through your music is really interesting to somebody like me who has to hear deeper. Like, I need to know more about the lyrics than just that 3-minute or 4-minute song. So for you, it's incredible to kind of read your backstory. And even on your webpage, it's only, it's the tip of the iceberg, I imagine. So as a songwriter, nobody starts out writing songs. Typically you learn an instrument first. You're playing cover music and stuff like that. When you're learning the instrument, you're playing cover music, do you find yourself having some uniqueness even within the covers?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely, like my live show is original music and then 100% request.
Right.
So a lot of times I'll get requests for songs that I know them, but I'm not really able to play them the way that they're supposed to be played.
Right.
So inadvertently and unintentionally, they become my own. And then it got to where any cover song, and you'll get silly requests like Luke Bryan and stuff like that. Where
don't be that guy.
Well, I mean, they're out there. Believe it or not, there's people
request
out there.
The Frozen soundtrack before Luke Bryan.
We'll even do the Frozen soundtrack. I mean, I'll do anything for $20, but anything.
It's the tagline to the episode right there.
Hey, anything. But it's you can, and I've always had a real strong stance of bars pay me to come entertain people.
Right.
That's my job, is to go entertain your crowd.
Right.
So I've played with people who they'll shove their own music down people's throats or shove what they want to play down people's throats, and they get upset when people aren't receptive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, and then they have a bad time, and they're upset, and they're like, I don't drive around in a van and sleep in that van and make very little money to not have a good time,
Right.
So play what they want to hear and make it your own and have a good time doing it, and who cares?
It sounds like you had to go through a lot of evolution to get to that point, though.
Well, not necessarily personally, but I did. I was blessed to travel with some people and play with some people that I saw their discomfort, and I saw and kind of learn what not to do, from them. And I mean, of course, I've had my own trial and error, but yeah. Just kind of kept my eyes open and watch what people do and what.
Are you doing that mindfully too? Like, in other words, maybe it's before you've had a high quality live show, because there's a difference, folks. There really is.
Oh, absolutely.
There's the people that are just on the weekend they're putting their stuff in the van and they're playing a show, and they play the show. Then there's the people that are putting on a show. They're actually thinking about set order, songs to play, et cetera, et cetera. You know, how do I pull a crowd in? How do I get them away from the bar and up to the stage? You're that kind of guy. I already know that just by talking to you. So what was that like, going from the people that are just playing the show to play the show to the guy that's there to entertain?
Well, there's still off days, you know, that either you're just god awful hungover or just not feeling it that day, or just there's some soul sucking gigs, you know, that you know are gonna suck.
But my point is, you're thinking about this stuff like beforehand.
But I've always, it's just like us talking right now. Like I don't like set lists. I don't like I like structure, but I don't like. I'd rather be off the cuff and it be organic and real. So, and I think one of my strong points is being able to read a crowd and see what they want and appeal to them, you know, and adjust and make adjustments to put on a good show.
And there could be a lot of train wrecks involved in that too.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, there's 9 times out of 10, especially early in a set, especially in a place that you haven't played before, where nobody knows who you are, where you're really kind of you're throwing out different kinds of bait to find out what they want, you know, to where you'll be like, all right, no more James Taylor, got it.
Right. Well, you know, you have a live album now. It's called Live But Not Okay. And the very first word spoken on the album is, "I'm Jake Flint. You don't know who I am." Of course, there's cuss words in this, but I'm not going to put the cuss words in. You don't know who I am, but you're fixing to.
You're about to, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to start a show. You know?
Well, I just figured to perk their ears up, you know, like, okay, prove it, you know?
Right.
And I think we did that night. We did a good job. And I'm really happy with how that album came out. And speaking of, I pressed a explicit and a radio edit, and all the cuss words are slide whistles.
Yeah, I know.
And it cracks me up every time, man.
We were listening to it before you got here today, and my producer / fiance, she was like, "There's cuss words in that song." I was like, "Yep, slide whistles."
Slide whistles.
And so we were laughing.
Oh, it cracks me up.
Yeah, Cowtown, just full of slide whistles. Good shit. So again, we're talking about Jake's history here, and one of the things I've noticed about you, watching your tour schedule and stuff like that, you play a lot of benefits, which I respect a lot, by the way. I appreciate that about you. In case somebody out there doesn't, I want people to know that you play a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
And artists from the Southwest, Texas, or Oklahoma, Arizona, New Mexico, they tend to do a lot of free shows. The hearts of some of these people like Jake down here are just second to none. But you have a history back with your dad that I imagine is the reason for you giving back.
Plays a big part
tell
of
us
it.
a little bit about that.
My dad had Lou Gehrig's disease. He had it for 20 years, and he got it when I was in my early teens. And it's a ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is what it's called. It's a muscle degenerative disease where basically your nervous system, where your brain's, the train tracks that your brain sends signals to your muscles, basically the little stations die. Yeah. So my dad it took him his legs pretty quick and his speech. Everybody thought he was drunk and he never drank.
Right.
But everybody thought he was drunk because he was stumbling and slurring his words, and then so he was wheelchair bound pretty quick, and got a feeding tube pretty quick, and then a ventilator pretty quick, and then ultimately was just 24-hour nursing, but was still very functional. It doesn't affect the brain at all, doesn't affect any involuntary organs, so his heart and digestive system, everything's fine. And just a brilliant man, really smart, really savvy businessman.
He set you up.
Yeah.
You know, he saw the passion for music within you.
Oh, absolutely.
And set you up.
He couldn't really stimulate me physically,
right,
in my younger years, so he kind of subcontracted that to his friends and partners and people in our church, and a couple of his old college buddies, John Beaver and Dave Nichols, kind of taught me how to play guitar and took me to bluegrass festivals, and that's really where I really got turned on and got a fire lit in me to want to get better at this, and do it. And then when I was in my early 20s, I had a pretty good lick when I was 19, 20. I actually was just a major screw up through my late teens, and then got actually did a little stint in the pokey and straightened me out pretty good. And then through my early 20s, I did really well for myself, and then kind of hit a bad lick. And my dad was remarried. Me and my mother got divorced when I was in my teens, and he was remarried, and he was going through his second divorce with this second wife, and she just took him through the ringer. And I mean, when she filed for divorce, she asked for everything except for his wheelchair.
Wow.
And we just did it. We had kind of started this oil company, a little small oil and gas production company, and so we did do everything we can to keep all of it. And then once that divorce was filed, him and I just kind of joined forces, and I sold out and moved in with him and was kind of his primary caregiver for a while, and until 2013 when he passed. And this is why I'm doing not why I'm doing, but one of the main reasons I'm doing what I'm doing is because he said he knew that I'd kind of put music off the wayside to do all our business stuff and take care of him a little bit, and so he insisted that I take 5 years and try to turn music into money and make a living doing it. And here we are 5 years later, and second single, and so it's
So it sounds to me like
solid.
he saw that passion in you before you might even realized it.
And he had a passion for music too, so he really enjoyed what I did, so this is a big thing for me to do it for him, but yes, definitely I think that I'm addicted to service, and like that, having, like I said, being his primary caregiver for 5-6 years, it's something I kind of miss it. I miss somebody needing me.
Right.
I miss having a purpose. It bleeds through into my relationships with women, and certainly bleeds through into I need that, and I have to have it, and it's almost a guilty pleasure. Just anything I can do to, I'll just go mow somebody's yard or anything. I get a lot of gratification from it, and it's something that I'm addicted
And like I said, most artists in Texas are very open to playing for free for folks that need the help. And there's usually a motivation involved with each person why they do that, because, look, it's hard work. It really is hard to wake up. And we were talking about, $3,000 worth of equipment, a $500 van, just to make $50 or whatever. But, just on your tour schedule now, I see a benefit for Down syndrome coming up. I see, stuff like that. These guys and girls down here, they get it. And Jake is one of those that gets it. And I wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to tell why you do that.
Well, thank you for that.
No problem, man.
And also, if there's anybody watching this that if they ever need anything, that you can get a hold of me.
Absolutely. And we'll talk with Jake about his contact information and stuff right at the end of the show. So if you want to fast forward or pause or whatever that you need to do, that'll be towards the end. We always put that at the end, and people expect it that way. But yeah, we've got Jake Flint here in the house, aka the studio, Mojo Studio, right here in beautiful Tatum, Texas.
Beautiful.
Jake is from Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you haven't heard of Jake before, it's a killer single on the radio right now called "Long Road Back Home." It's not the pop version. Maybe we'll get him to do that the next time he's on the show. Long home back road.
Long road back long
home back
cold beer
road.
back road bonfire.
Yeah, that's it.
Tailgate.
That's not really it. But yeah, Jake is here. We talked about life experiences. You talked about being in prison a little bit. You got a heartbreak. You got falling in love. You got all of these different life experiences that kind of feed the fire of a creative person. Is that how it works for you?
It is. And things have been going so well lately. I don't have any stimulus and haven't been writing anything.
No, that's not good.
So, but and I actually just started seeing a new little lady that I'm absolutely head over heels in love with, and she's definitely got the.
Right now, she's hitting the record button so she can.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this first album, I'm Not Okay, it's a chronicle of. I have a hard time writing fiction.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a chronicle of my teens and 20s.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's a believability thing from you?
I think it's just I'm not talented. I mean, it's just and it falls into that. I like everything to be organic and real, and I've never been co-writing's always been a terrible thing for me.
Sounds to me like you have to be able to connect to a song
Absolutely,
if
and
you
it has to happen
can't-
quick.
Yeah, yeah.
My attention deficit and just laziness. But if it doesn't just happen, I mean, I've got books of half-written songs
Yeah.
that I'll never ever finish.
Do you ever feel yourself losing connection to a song based on what's happening in your life?
Absolutely, definitely.
What do you do then if it's part of your live show or
Walk
if it's a
away from
single
it.
or whatever?
The stuff that's already written.
Yeah.
I don't ever lose. That's that's set in stone.
Yeah.
You know, and I never.
And you can draw from that just
Right.
by putting yourself back into
And,
that moment in time.
You know, there'll be times that people just don't like it or whatever.
Right.
That's the only. I want to connect with people with my music.
Right.
When it comes to covers, I don't care. You know, if you want to hear Wagon Wheel, I'll play Wagon Wheel. Put $20 in the tip jar.
He'll do anything for $20, y'all.
And but when it comes to original music, I really like to look people in the eye and connect with them. You know, and try to hit a nerve. You know, that's why we do what we do. As far as writing music, I don't like to write anything that's the same thing with like trying to write fiction. I mean, it's got to be, you know, real.
Yeah.
It can't be fabricated.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think a lot of creative people try to make themselves fit
Yeah.
where they don't need to.
Yeah, it's just, and that's probably another reason why I'm a red dirt folk Americana guy instead of a pop country guy. Is that just cookie cutter
Yeah.
song is it's appalling to me.
Yeah.
You know?
No content
Yeah,
music.
stupid.
I'm there with you. So we are here with Jake Flint. Jake has just released his debut record as well, full-length record. And boy, I'll tell you, man, you had some heavy hitters on this record. Right from the top. I mean, produced by Mike McClure. Just an all-star team of session players on
Yep.
it as well. Tell us about what it was like for you for the first time going into the studio, knowing that you're working with one of your heroes as well.
Well, it was a little intimidating at first.
Yeah.
But Mike's really good about breaking that down in a hurry because there's no filter, there's no act, no BS.
Yeah,
it's just,
no BS.
It's just exactly what you're going to get, and so he has a way of really making you comfortable and breaking you down, and then also I think that some of the hands that he was lended in his upcoming, he's not shy to do the same. You know,
Right. Paying it forward.
Yeah, absolutely, and so actually, when I first went to his studio, there was a beer company in Tulsa, a brewery they were making a little short documentary, and they wanted me to go in and record just some original bluegrass music that they could put use for, so
Like
they didn't have to
commercials
license
or whatever,
anything.
yeah.
And so I got some of John Beaver and Dave Nichols and some of my buddies, and we went down there, and I had heard about Mike and knew that his door was kind of open to whoever, and called, and he was like, yeah, man. He's like, I haven't done anything like that in a while.
Wow.
That sounds fun. So we went in there and did that, and then once the session was over, we still had some time left on the clock, so I stuck around and I just wanted to lay down a couple of my songs, and he was like, man, those are pretty good, and
That had to blow your mind.
it was. And at that time, I didn't think that I didn't have any confidence in my songwriting or anything like that, but
you gained that quick with Mike around, I guarantee.
Absolutely. And also, but that's another thing I love about him is if something sucks, he'll tell you it sucks. You know?
Yeah.
So he's got
Don't do that again.
Yeah. Or that was terrible. Do that again. Do it again.
Do it again.
So, and that comes from, I think he said the first time he met Guy Clark, they played, I think, at Billy Bob's, Texas, and Guy Clark was there. And after they closed everything down, they were just sitting around on the dance floor and they were playing guitars. And,
oh my God.
And Guy Clark was like, "Hey, play me one," And so Mike played him, just picked his best, and played it. And he said Guy Clark just looked at him and said that was bad.
Wow.
And he said he sorted him off later and was like, "Man," and excuse my language, but he said, "Man, if you're going to write songs, you show your ass."
Yeah.
It's like you show your ass in every line and you show your ass in every chord. And he was like, what you did, that wasn't showing your ass. That was, you were pandering,
Yep.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Pandering.
Yeah.
It's a bad word in music.
Yeah.
So Jake is actually going to play us one more song here. We also have a sneak peek we're going to put at the very end of the episode that came out earlier in the week on our social media. But we do include that here on the episode as well. That way everybody gets the full experience from here in the studio. But the next song you're going to do is called Who's Better. Tell us a little bit about the song.
Who's Better is another song I wrote with Justin Peters in Nashville last fall. And it's a song about two people who they're perfect for each other because they're so different from each other. It's kind of opposite track kind of deal. So, and it's
always good subject matter for.
Yeah, and it was kind of inspired by this gal that I'm seeing.
Cool.
We've found that we are actually have some pretty close similarities, but at the time that's kind of was what inspired me.
Yeah, you don't realize when you're single and you're looking for somebody that shares in the same likes and dislikes that you have, that's not going to work.
No.
You've got to find that one that's just different enough that it works.
Mm-hmm. Somebody's got to eat the blue M&Ms. Somebody's got to eat the red M&Ms.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. That's a good way to put it. Guys, it's Who's Better by the one and only Jake Flint, live right here in Mojo Studio.
Well, you get up early in the morning, and I go to bed at the same time. You drink your coffee while I'm drinking my last ride. You set the rhythm and I ride. Well, now who's better than you for me? Well, I make you your coffee even though I only drink tea. Well, we may live different notes, babe, but together we're harmony. Well, now who's better than you for me? Well, you like cranberry in your vodka gross. I like mine with soda and lime. It's one short reach for a bartender, baby. And for us, babe, it's always a good time. Well, now who's better than me for you? Who's gonna do all the things you don't like to do? Well, I love you, I think of you, babe, and you know that's true. Well, now who's better than me for you? Well, I like to cook, and you like to clean, and I like to whisper. You like to scream, and I like to work, and you like to play, and I tend to sin, but you tend to pray. Well, now who's better than me for you? Who's gonna do all the things you don't like to do? Well, I love you, I think of you, babe, and you know that's true. Yeah, you do. Oh, baby, who is better than me for you? Baby, who is better than me?
All right, so we are back with Jake Flint. That was Who's Better.
Who's better?
So who is better?
Nobody's better than anybody, man. We're all just big meat bags.
That's the politically correct answer.
Yeah.
You were supposed to say she is. Come on.
She is.
She's better.
Barb's better.
Yeah, that's right. So Jake Flint's here on the show. It's episode 292. I promise you guys contact information and all of that. If people are just hearing about you and they're becoming fans of Jake Flint, where can they follow along with you?
My website's pretty comprehensive. JakeFlintMusic.com, easy enough to remember. JakeFlintMusic.com, JakeFlintMusic.com.
Jake Flint, Michigan, not like Larry Flint.
Yes, Flint.
Big difference.
But there's everything on there. There's media on there. There's music videos for the single Long Road Back Home and the first single Cowtown, and then also the audio's on there too. And news, show dates. Contact. There's a store on there. You can go buy CDs and stuff. And I will, of course, sign them if you want me to, and hand wrap them.
That might devalue them, though, don't you think?
They might. They make really good coasters.
Yeah, they do. Heck yeah.
And then, of course, at the bottom, there's links to all my social media. There's Instagram, Twitter, and all that.
Some of his records are great conversation starters, too.
They are.
We have one displayed on our wall or in one of our shelves where we typically film.
Yeah.
The one with the text message.
Ah.
People would be like, "What a great album cover!" I'm like, "That's my boy Jake Flint, man.
Man.
Y'all check him out."
Hopefully, I'll get sued by maybe I'll get sued by Apple, and then I'll then again profit. I'll know I made it.
He's just the goal in life for Jake Flint is to get sued by as many famous people as possible.
Someone sue me.
Sue him,
please.
Now.
Please.
So JakeFlintMusic.com. I spell it out all the time, JakeFlint. I'm not spelling music for y'all. Google it.
DOTCOM.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. Exactly. So again, it's Jake Flint. It's episode 292. The brand new single is Long Road Back Home. Call your local radio stations. Let's get that played.
Yeah.
Even internet stations, guys. If you're listening to internet-only radio, they will play it as well. In fact, they're more likely to play it. And even if you live in Madagascar, call that radio station in Madagascar, and let's get Jake Flint on the airwaves. I think that's the biggest way you can support a single for an artist. Another big way you can support an artist, which is completely free for you guys, is hit the like or follow button on all of his social media. I think you have a Facebook and an Instagram, I know for sure. Do you have a Twitter as well?
I do have a Twitter and Snapchat, if you want to see a picture of my food or whatever else I have in front of me.
Jake's Food.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, call in. Yeah,
Well, you just heard it in the song. He does like to cook, so
I do. I love
Snapchat
to
and Instagram are probably cool places to be.
I do. There's lots of chili pictures on my Instagram.
There you go. So check that out if you're a chili fan. And I'm talking. I'm assuming the food, right? Not the country.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Chile.
Because Chile's not a good country. They stole our flag. You know that, right?
They did.
Texas stole our flag.
Bastards. We just have a grudge against Chile.
My two Chilean viewers were just like, "Wait, what?"
Not listening to you anymore.
Right. If you guys are tuned into the ETX ROCKS Show for the first time, thank you guys for spending some time with me and Jake today. You can follow along with everything we have going on. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ETX ROCKS. If you're listening on audio, we're also over on the YouTube in high definition video. And we have a lot of facial hair going on today.
Yeah.
That you guys get to see up close and personal. So go over to the YouTube, check it out. While you're there, hit that subscribe button. That's the best way you can support our show and our mission in shining a light on independent musicians. Very important. Independent music is the new wave of the 21st century. And very shortly, I don't think we're going to have labels anymore. That's just my opinion. I don't think we're going to have major labels much longer.
I would like that.
I think so. I think major labels are going to be owned by artists now.
It's just so easy to do it yourself now. So, man, thank you very much for everything you do.
No problem.
I really appreciate what you do, and I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
And without guys like you, there's not guys like us. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you for saying that. Jake Flint is up and coming. He's close to the mountaintop. He's going to get there because he's got good hiking equipment.
Shoot, I just found the trailhead, man.
Well, that's the good start, right?
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, so make sure you're following along with Jake's journey. Also, we are completely self-funded on the show, which means we are low budget. Just because we're in a studio doesn't change that. Mark is awesome, by the way, guys. He's donating all his time and efforts. Make sure you're following along with Mobile Audio and Video Productions. That is on Facebook. That'll be in the description below, a link to their stuff. It's also mobileaudiolabs.com. Brand new Mojo studio, 100% analog, 100% digital studio right here in your backyard in East Texas. So if you're an artist, an independent musician, you want some stuff recorded, this is the place to do it. High quality stuff, guys. So check out Mobile Audio and Video Productions. So yeah, we are completely self-funded on this show, which means we are low budget. And I emphasize the word low, which means we could use your help out there. Anything from a nickel to $1,000, we'll take that today. Don't throw another nickel at me, Mark Claybrook. I'm telling you right now. I still have your nickel from last week. But you can donate any amount to www.paypal.me/ETX ROCKS, and every dime you guys send us goes right back into the production of the show. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
That was a penny. We don't take pennies, y'all. Oh, and we don't take Bitcoin or Robert De Niro anymore. Sorry. Robert went off the deep end.
Oh, man.
So,
Off the deep end. Off the deep end. You went off the deep end? Huh?
Everybody's a comedian. You're crazy as hell. That was good. That was really good. Not bad for a ginger, dude. I was like, dude.
Ginger De Niro.
It's the Ginger De Niro, dude. What the hell? What happened here? It's because of y'all's contributions out there that we were able to recently launch a massive website called ETXROCKS.show with over 10,000 hours of live content on there. It's got every single one of our episodes, over 700 live performances from right here on the show, and an internet radio playlist as well on there with all live performances from the show as well. All genres of music too, so no matter what kind of music you like, you'll find it there.
Yep.
That's at www.etxrocks.show. If you're a musician or a band out there, there's also a comprehensive list of all music venues in East Texas, Houston, Galveston, and Dallas-Fort Worth right there at your fingertips as well. Took me almost a month to put together that list. So if you're looking for new venues to play, ETXROCKS.show has you covered, so check that out. And as we always say on the ETX Rock Show, we want to thank you guys out there for always supporting live music of all genres and all styles. And don't ever forget,
ETX Rocks.
That's right.
This is a song called His Daughter. I wrote it from my buddy Cody Kazee. Well, it speaks for itself. Goes out to all you deadbeat mothers out there. Well, his cousin introduced him on a Saturday night in a Stillwater bar, the house of ice, and he took her home and laid her down. He didn't use no rubber, didn't really care, 'cause she said in her womb there wasn't nothing there. She'd had a bout with cancer, they had to clean her out. Well, but 9 months later there was a baby girl, and he sure wasn't scared to change his old world for the better. But battle lines got drawn. She knew he had a little money, she knew he loved this child, she knew he was a good man. To put it mild, she put a price on that kid's head. Said, I'll see you in town. She would always be free, she would always be expensive, and she'd always be his daughter. Well, it was just one day in the hospital, and that old mama was gone right back down to Texas. Not one phone call till the sheriff showed up with a subpoena in hand. He would have married that woman, but no, he knew better. He would have sold his soul. 1,000 letters, he drove 100,000 miles between here and her mama's land. He paid child support more than he ever should have, paid several lawyers more than he ever could have, but the family law down in Texas is geared towards the mothers.
Made him drive down to Texas, but she turned him away. They made her drive to Oklahoma, but she never let her stay. Just a teasing and taunting, a fighting and desperate father. She would always be free. She would always be expensive, and she'd always be his daughter. She would always be free. She'd always be expensive, and she'd always be his daughter. So he just threw up his hands and he stayed away. He only hoped that one day when the college tuition got paid that maybe, just maybe, there wasn't too much damage done. Well, he looked at those pictures on the fridge every damn day, and there wasn't too many other reasons that he needed to pray, except for rain and healthy cattle, and that he didn't ever use that old way. She would always be free. She'd always be expensive, and she'd always be his daughter. She would always be free. She'd always be expensive, and she'd always be his daughter. She would always be gone, but she'd always be there. She'd always be his daughter.
From the unknown to the stars, from the couch to the car, from the unheralded and the unheard, to the legends and beyond, it's where we all belong. Yes, this is where it all starts. From every genre, from every plane, this is where the music's played. So tune right in, won't you bring a friend? This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show, let the music flow, of every style and creed. And you can bet your socks that ETX rocks, ETX rocks.